All right, everyone, I'm going to talk with you just real quick about one minor thing before we move on to the window detail thing I want to do. Notice how the room above the garage is sort of still sitting on top of the second floor structure. Okay, that's not really how it's going to be built in reality. What it's really going to do is kind of dip down. So the stud framing is going to be framed out to the edge of structure, and then the finish is going to run down the side of the end joist that's going around the frame. So, or around the joist, I should say, around the floor framing. So we're going to lower that wall, but we're also going to have to shift it in plan so that it shows properly. First, let's lower it, and you'll see why we have to shift it. So these two walls here are actually going to jump or drop down 2 feet. So we don't really have to do much because all of the wall's upper boundary is limited to the roof. So it's always going to touch that roof. So all I have to do is extend the base offset a -2 feet. Right, so that drops it down to there. Okay, but we still have the problem of the floor plate, and that's why we have to kind of shift it into place. So when you look at it in section, and I'll just cut a real quick section. Let's put it on fine. This is the issue we're having, right? The floor plate goes all the way out, and then our finish is aligned with that floor plate. So all you have to do is align your plywood. Oh, it didn't move out. That's weird. Let's just move it then. Move your plywood out. So, oh, and look at that. The floor went with it. Haha. Hang on. These get a little funky. So if it's going to get sticky like that, like you accidentally, because you use the align tool or something like that, associated that element with the edge of the floor, which I guess happened here, you kind of can, I think most of the time you can kind of just pull it up like this. That's what I sometimes do to try and troubleshoot that. And, oh, I know, I see what the issue is. The floor plate, so the wall is in the correct position with the finish on the outside. The floor plate should be pulled back to the structural grid. So let's go back into the second floor and edit it there. Edit boundary, and you can easily see the issue right here. So because of the fact that these lines are on the exterior of the wall and not aligned to the plywood, you can just kind of move it back like that, and then you probably just want to verify that that's also the case elsewhere. So this is an issue on this side as well. I'll pull that one back. Also back here. And back here as well. This one, yeah, this needs to move back too. Looks like it's pretty much everywhere. So I'll align this one to the grid. And my best guess is that that happened when I changed my wall type, because remember when I drew my walls originally, I drew it right on the grid line, so it associated that with the grid line at the exterior of the wall, and I guess the floor just moved with it. So hit check, say no, because you always want to control those yourself. Let's change this to -2 again, and then when you go back into 3D, it'll look like that. And that's what we have here. Okay. Looks like the garage door isn't quite the right height. Let me check that height real quick. Let's go to measure, calibrate. I'm going to set this to 25 here. So I currently have all of my openings going to 8 feet. So that's only 7'7". So yeah, all right. So I got to make some adjustments. This needs to come down 5 inches. Wait, what did I do wrong there? That's a unconnected height. Can stay. This needs to be 7'7", and then I need to add 5 inches to the height here so that it accommodates. Okay, questions? All right. Are you guys getting bogged down in the details of all this modeling stuff? You guys look kind of blue right now. And it's not just because monitors are flashing in your faces. All right. Well, I promise you, once you get the hang of this stuff and you start to understand these like weird little sticky nuances, it gets a lot more fun to do rapid modeling like this. So, cool. Let's keep plugging.